Welcome to Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent. We are here talking about the greatest toy in the world, TV show, Lego Masters, and it's time to get your brick on. I'm one of your co-hosts, Mark.
And I am Josh. I'm here to get my brick on. Mark,
Yeah,
I'm here to have a high-flying podcast with you today.
I am so happy to be here every week with you, dude. Like, it's so great that we're doing this. Like, it feels so great to talk Lego Masters with you. And if people are watching at home, they can tune in. I mean, we're live right now. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Getting our brick on live on YouTube, talking about some Cirque Du Soliel built out of Legos.
Yeah.
Another incredible just idea for an episode. I don't know. You're more familiar with the international versions to know if they've done this kind of thing elsewhere, but for me, sticking with the American Lego Masters, this is just such a cool, novel idea. Another IP that I wouldn't expect to cross over with Lego, and it was a great idea.
I'm actually not that familiar with the international versions.
Okay,
but
I said compared to me, Mark, and that's a low bar.
I know that there's like 8 different international versions, but I would love to watch them. I heard Australia's a good one. But I growing up, I loved Cirque Du Soleil so much. I don't know if you ever caught them touring or anywhere, but I've seen a couple of touring versions of it in high school, and it's always so cool to see. I love circuses in general, but to see a circus like this where it's all just human on human type stuff is so cool.
Yeah, I've seen a couple performances, especially growing up, caught more of them, and it's great. I mean, I just think with Lego, when you can attach something that's going to give you that sense of wonder, whether it's you're building dinosaurs or some big epic, explosion, or we're talking about volcanoes, Cirque du Soleil is again, just counterintuitive thing, but a counterintuitive pairing, but it works because it Cirque du Soleil, invokes that kind of wonder that you want to get out of a Lego build. And so I loved it.
One of the things I absolutely love about my brain does not think in straight lines when it comes to Cirque du Soleil. And Lego, you have to be in a straight line unless it's a weird piece. And I think that's one of the cool challenges of this episode. And there's it's just they're keeping the hot streak on. I don't think it's as good as last week. Again, I will state again, it's one of the top 10 episodes of any reality show so far this year. But this is a great episode.
So, Mark, are you saying that I can't remember the exact wording that they used, but who's the girl? What's the girl pairing with the ukuleles right now? What's their names?
Oh, Allison and Melanie.
Okay, one of them, right? She's talked about there's there's the planners and then there's the executors, when it comes to these duos on the team. Are you saying you're less of the planner and you're more of the executor when it comes to straight lines? Because I definitely, when it comes to Lego Masters, not going to be the director picking, exactly how to build stuff, whatever. I don't have the technical experience, but you put some bricks in front of me, tell me what to do, maybe give me an instruction manual or something, and I can put it together.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly like Christopher in the way of I built a lot of sets, but I've never actually built an idea from scratch.
Yeah.
Granted, Christopher definitely has more experience than I. We're going to talk about that, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Should we just get started?
Let's do it. Let's talk about the episode.
All right. I freaking love they really always nail these intro. When them walking in, you see the Cirque du Soleil banner come down, you see the tumblers, you see the person on the trapeze, and it's the world building on the show is just so beautiful from the top.
Yeah. No, we talked about this last week with the volcano, the week before, or one of the earlier weeks with just the whole intro with the house and everything they're doing there. They nail the ambiance. They get it right. The vibes are set, and it's so fun with the Cirque du Soleil to actually have the people, the performers actually there as well. It's just, I don't know. It's so fun.
I love when you first see Will, he's yeah, did you like me in zebra suit? It's just really cool. I love how Nina is immediately there's a lot of concern in my mind about Nina and Sam this episode.
Okay.
I feel this is I feel when they have to think out of the box for them is when they get a little bit scared.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think they seem to bite off a lot this episode.
They bite off
And
so much.
yeah, they're very ambitious. They're very ambitious, even when it comes to helping other people with their builds instead of their own. So, yeah, no, it definitely Nina and Sam. We'll talk a lot about them this episode.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those great episodes where all 8 teams that are left are highlighted so well. But like, how are they highlighted? We have 2 teams of 4. That's the challenge, and they're going to be doing a Cirque du Soleil, creating a Cirque du Soleil show. It could have a story. It should have a story. It should be cool. This is a huge part of the episode. They have to make 4 acts: contortionist, balancing, flying, and high wire act. Josh, when you were a kid, what was your favorite of those type of things to see in the circus?
I mean, I think the high flying stuff is so fun to watch. Just like people like completely, for one moment, at least in time, completely detached from, the railings, the bars. They're floating up there. It's like, I mean, it's a hold your breath thing. You're scared for them, and yet they like always pull it off every time. So that's definitely my favorite.
Yeah. And like in Cirque du Soleil world, also like the contortionists are always so cool. Just like how you see them like all stacked on each other, and it's just I love it.
Yeah.
But the way the team's gonna be broken up, they have to run up to Will and grab like a ticket, I think, and it'll tell them if they're Team Cirque or Team Soleil. I got so concerned when I saw this breakdown, like of these, like Team Cirque is Aubrey Ryan, Emily and Kelly, Allison and Melody, and Paul and Nalita. And Team Soleil is Christopher and Robert, Nina and Sam, Lewis and Alex, and Poppy and Ben. Now, there's a huge difference in like these 2 teams. One of those teams has been like every team that's been first or second place, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, every single team on Soleil has been in the top 2 so far, at least once this season. And I think 3 out of the 4 have been in the top 2 multiple times. And so it's funny. Every single team on Cirque, I think we got a comment from them at some point saying that they wish they were on Team Soleil. So it was like very obvious which team was stacked here.
I was like genuinely like, well, literally, I remember I was watching the episode like the first time. I'm watching like that happens. Just like, oh, okay. Like obviously, like well, we know these 4 people are safe. Well, these 4 teams are safe. Like,
absolutely.
I mean, we'll get further, of course, into that whole situation because it, and like this looked so unbelievably unbalanced. It's like it just. I literally start laughing. I start laughing while rewatching episode while taking my notes at work today. So they decided to create their stories. Team Soleil, they wanted to do a moon, like they're thinking about the sky, the sun and the moon falling in love, which is a cool idea.
Yeah,
a simple idea. And Team Cirque, they were doing a. What was the verbiage? The verbiage was so funny to me. But it was a reverse Little Mermaid, basically. But they were talking about a woman who wants to become a mermaid.
Yeah.
And becomes a mermaid. Both those actually feel like Cirque du Soleil ideas.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, they're just really very creative, fun ideas. And I think like the fun part was seeing how both these teams got started, which was, you see, I'm already gonna mess up. Okay, you see Team Soleil, like they're all just vibing, they're getting it all their ideas out there, like, oh my gosh, yeah, like we're gonna run with it. And then Team Cirque is like, there is some tension going on there, and it's not as smooth as Team Soleil.
Not at all. Again, I think it's got something to do with the fact that Soleil has been winning so much. We should talk about like the breakdown of what the acts were. Ended up being so Nina and Sam, they do the contortionist, Krista and Robert do the flying, Poppy and Ben do the balancing act, and Lewis and Alex do the high wire. And on Cirque, Paul and Nalita do the high wire, Emily and Kelly do the flying, Alice and Melody do the balancing, and Aubrey and Ryan do the contortionist. I think that's important to note because it's so weird because they all have their important tasks, and in this episode, it doesn't feel like they don't stand out from each other, which is a really cool thing.
What do you mean by that?
I feel like I don't feel like there's ever like it's not like, oh my god, Nina and Sam are gonna crush this challenge. It's like, wow, that team's doing really good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
Got
the
it. I see
whole
what you're saying.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of Nina Sam, this is right when they volunteer to take on the role of building kind of, I think, the scaffolding aspect
like
of
the
each of
set,
the.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and at least building a crucial piece of that for everybody, and to make it consistent. And you're just feeling like, okay, this team they've got it together. Nita and Sam are the most capable team so far this season. So the fact that they're taking on a little bit more to make the whole build better at this point, right? We don't know the second twist. That's second part of the rules that are going to come to make it an individualized portion. So it really made sense that, like, okay, one team is going to make this very consistent. They're going to do the part to make the whole build good. I did say before the episode started, I think to my wife, I don't think I said it on the podcast, but I was feeling it going into like from last week to this week. I was like, this feels like the challenge, like one of these challenges where they're going to have like this part way through. We haven't gotten those this season yet, where there's going to be a twist halfway through, and we do get that this season, this episode here, which it was kind of predictable. Like, they were building their own sets. I wasn't too surprised when they came out and said that there was actually going to be an individual portion.
Yeah. Do you want to say what the individual prize would be?
Yeah, well, the individual, well, they announced the prize at the beginning, or was it halfway through?
It was like midway through. Yeah.
Oh, it was. Okay, it was part of the twist that they got to go see a Cirque du Soleil performance in Vegas. That's the entirety of the thing, right?
Yeah.
Is 2 tickets.
Like, yeah, choose the show.
Yeah.
I would choose Love because I love the Beatles and I heard that show's amazing. Or Ka is the one with the floating stage. It looks really cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So yeah, they there's a twist that there's a prize, to actually go see the show live. And I mean, that changes it probably for some people, but I think in general, most of them are like, if we just make our team build good enough, like, we'll be set, because none of us will go home.
Yeah. I love how they use Christopher for his super villainous with the recon. Like, and I just love how every episode's gonna have him be like in the back, like, I'm not,
Yeah,
but like clearly looking. It's so great. Like, I mean, for those that aren't watching us and that are listening to us, he literally is in the frame of like a good portion of the episode, just staring at people. Also, did you notice that Robert is speaking a lot more now?
yeah. I think Christopher and Robert are close to being the main characters of the season. I mean, all right, Christopher is giving the most, and he's getting the most screen time and interactions with Will. They make sure, he's like, I don't know. There's not really usually like these like running bits that Will has with people. It's not very common that he has running bits. It reminds me of Boone with like when he'd go to Boone for like the song, now he's going to Christopher for the villain bit. And I just feel like, okay, they're setting us up to get to know him. I think they're going to be here for a long time. And that also matches their capabilities with building, of course, but just doing a little edit reading. I think Christopher and Robert, now that he's also speaking more too, they're going to be around for a while. I would bet on it.
I do love that we get to like quickly realize that the two teams think that the other team is copying the other team because the fact that the walls are blue. Because space and underwater are very similar color schemes. And they're like, hey, are you doing space? No. Are you doing water? No. Oh, okay. Like,
yeah, I like how Emily was like, why would you tell them that? And I was like, oh, it's fine to tell them. Like, no, they're not going to steal your idea at this point. Like, just the fact that you're saying like, oh, we're doing the mermaid theme underwater. Like, why would they go and then just, okay, let's just copy them at that point? I don't know. It kind of bugged me that she like snapped that.
Just change it all. Like, that's like always a good idea. Just change it all at that point.
Yeah, I can't think of any edge you would get at that point if you just knew the general theme of the one other build in the room.
Can we like talk quickly about that push-up contest?
Okay. Yeah, I honestly, great improv abilities to just come up with that as a superpower.
Like, Christopher being so evil as he likes to be, in quotes. I'm not really calling the guy evil. I don't think he's evil. No. It's like, yeah, I will cheer you on while you do a push-up contest, Will, with against Robert, and also Ben joins too. And it's like you just see a little push-up contest happen for like 10 seconds of the show.
Yeah, no, it was fun. And then Ben, like I said, Ben jumps in, and then who is it? Melanie, that comes in and jumps on Robert, at the end there. So like, there's good vibes, and like, this seems like a very fun cast to be around. Like, I know it's not like there's a bunch of sourpusses here on Lego Masters, but like, this just seems like there's a really positive air, even in how they're interacting with each other.
100%. Around this point in the episode, is they start showing the issues that Paul and Nelita are having with their track, because they have a different mechanical situation than the other teams do, where it seems like they have it's not like they have like a train engine of some sort.
They're using like the train function to like build it.
That thing was going kind of fast and a little concerning, and I'm like, is this the end of it? Because I've always I felt like for a few weeks now we're getting close to possibly the end of the story. I don't want them to leave, but like it feels like the way that the other teams are building, I feel like they're in that like bottom third area.
Yeah, no, it definitely does, and like, it feels like I talked about this last week. They just don't seem like that ambitious, and it could be because they know their capabilities and stay in their lane. You know, so much of the early weeks just don't be last place, but eventually they're gonna have to take bigger swings if they're gonna want to stay in the game. Just because compared to what oh gosh, I gotta remember the names. Lewis and Alex built, on the other side. You could just tell like there was just a level of skill involved that they weren't able to push for the same thing.
Yeah. And I do wish that they do that they continue to grow in the show. And that I don't want any team to do bad. I really like this cast a lot.
No, it's Lego Masters. No need to be negative. We're not rooting against anybody.
No, we're not.
Talking
about like giving everyone a leg up. I'm so happy that I saw a Lego Learn segment come back. Those are so common in the earlier seasons of the show. And they talk about translucent bricks and how to use them and like translucent parts. And they're very important. I have the Sonic set at my apartment. The one that's oh my god, I forgot the name of the first level of Sonic. With the loop
Don't ask me. Yeah.
But I'm so embarrassed I forgot. But I'm a nerd and I fuck up sometimes. But it's like it has like a couple of those translucent pieces. Because you have the rings floating, and it's really cool. Like it looks really cool when those pieces are used well.
Yeah. Okay. Google is turning up Green Hill Zone. Is that what
you're
thinking
thank
of?
You. Green Hill Zone. Oh my god! I was like, oh no! I can't just Google search right now.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I do like this. I like that it's just everything in the show is so well done. I like that they're teaching us a little bit of the lingo. They're making everybody that watches it a little bit more of a Lego fan, super fan with the insider knowledge. And they're teaching you like techniques of like if you wanted to build a mock, a word that they defined for us earlier this season in one of these segments. If you wanted to build a mock in your own home, like you could, have some more tools now and how to do illusions like they demonstrate here.
Like I don't know if you remember this, because this was like I barely remember it at all, but like as a kid, like when I'm talking like 3 and under, I remember Mr. Wizard was on like Nickelodeon, and like the way that like Lego Learn happens is like how he would teach science.
Okay.
Like where it's like not like it's like clearly he knows more than me, but he's doing it in a way where I want to learn more, and that's exactly how Jamie and Amy host those, and I love the Lego Learn segments so much.
That's great. I don't know what you're talking about. It sounds awesome.
I know I'm a few years older, so yeah. Mr. Wizard is a thing that was, I think, on Canadian TV that Nickelodeon had too, and me being watching TV all day long every day would watch it.
Great. This guy does look familiar here, Mr. Wizard, but did not remember him when you first mentioned him. So looks like a really great Mr. Rogers-esque.
Exactly.
Science-y Mr. Rogers. That's what I'm gonna call him.
I mean, it's true. So we get to, we're like starting to see things come together, and I notice how big everything is on Soleil. Like the sun that Christopher and Robert built is like at least a foot like ball. Like it's like a foot. Like it's diameter like a foot.
Yeah. It was, I honestly, it was like, my worries were obviously with the other team and what they were going to be able to turn out, but I was not worried for a second what this team was going to be able to build. And they still impressed me, even with my high expectations of what they could, bring out.
Like the whole episode, I was just so scared for Team Cirque.
Yeah. Yeah, but the ball, like you're talking about, like the moon and the sun are rotating in like in different directions as well. Like it was just so cool when they finally displayed the final version there.
I think we gotta talk about now Nina and Sam. Since after Sam and Nina have been building the walls for everyone, we get to the point where I actually start getting very concerned for them because the mechanism isn't working the way it needs to, and it looks like their contortionists would probably bump into each other the way the mechanic is working.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, they're gonna like mess themselves out of this game. And
yeah, you're right. I said I wasn't worried about this team, but I was worried about them. Like I again, they're so ambitious. Like just with what the swings that they're taking, it does feel like it's either like a home run or it could be a strikeout. And like I was very worried that they weren't going to recover here, but they did totally fine. Like it was really cool. It's a very like unique idea for contortionists with them being so packed together and like having all these different limbs and stuff in different directions. Like it very, very creative build and just like not what my mind would have gone to as far as contortion goes, but like it works so well.
Like the finished product of it's like 10 characters on there probably. And it like when they ran into this issue with their base of it, I think there's probably 3 hours left, but it'll look a lot worse. Like it'll look, and then like he like knocks over a wall, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah. Like, because like right before commercial break, that was definitely sketchy.
This show's got some good editing. Should we talk about the finished products now?
Yeah, let's sure, let's go for it.
First off, I hope Poppy's okay.
Yeah, I was getting really worried about like the first Lego Masters medevac here. Because I would,
because the preview had the whole
I
was like they're having like, oh no.
Yes, the preview really contributed to this, which like is like, cut that out, Fox. Like, don't do that to me. Like I was like, oh my god. Poppy's done. He's like not dead. Not dead. No. I was just like, okay, like he's not gonna be able to compete, and they're gonna have to do like this thing where Ben has to leave because he doesn't have a partner anymore.
Like literally, my brain that whole like for the next like 7 minutes of the episode was just like, is Poppy okay?
Like
is this a thing? Because like Jamie says it so seriously, and that's just the thing about Jamie. He sounds serious 94% of the time.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you had the same reaction to me. I thought this was like some like horrible ending to this episode. I was like, oh man, not Poppy. So thankfully Poppy's okay. Yeah. But I, at this point in the episode, was definitely worried. Stressed in.
Yeah. So we get to Soleil, and of course Chris is going to be their ringmaster or narrator. And he is that man. I mean, I'm seeing this as an actor. That man and a storyteller. That man knows how to tell a story and weave a yarn that is so good and so fun and so engaging. And I really hope he starts podcasting or something. Like he's too wonderful.
Yeah. I didn't synchronize my stomps with you when you were talking. I forgot.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
Like, I loved it. It's so I know he puts on this show, but like there's a vulnerability to the way that he just like puts himself out there. Like he just goes full tilt, throws himself into these presentation pitches to the builds. Like I really, really like him. Like he is maybe one of my favorite characters so far, like of the whole show. Like, and I thought he was going to be annoying because I thought it'd be too much. But like the passion is there. This isn't someone who's just on Lego Masters trying to become an influencer of like, like he doesn't care about Legos. He's just this big personality or something. No, like this guy like genuinely is like loves Legos. As we saw in his backstory package where he has like, he's going for the world record for like most sets.
Yeah.
And then also just is like this really fun, big personality and he's just leading into it. So I love it. I love it.
We should see if we can get to talk to him.
Yeah.
After the season's done.
Definitely. That'd be so fun.
We like definitely on my list of people that I would love to talk to from the season for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so he sets up the story and we get Contortionist first. Which one was that? That's Nina and Sam.
Yeah.
Really cool. It's also really cool that you see that they all like spin in like slightly different speeds.
Yeah, no, the way I don't know what was going on with those gears under the floorboards, but it worked. It was so cool.
After that, we get the aerialists, which is Lewis and Alex. No, they're the high wire. Christopher Robert with the moon and the sun, and okay. This is my biggest negative thing about this build. It's kind of boring, except for the massive sun, in my personal opinion.
That's cool. I mean, yeah, I'm. It's not the poppiest thing that they've built for sure, but I do think it's incredible how the way that the four different characters, the sun and the moon, and then the Cirque du Soleil actors above them, like the way that they all turn separately was so impressive. So I just like I don't understand how they do that. So
Yeah.
I was very impressed with it.
Then it's a balancing act, which is Poppy and Ben's part, and like this is like a very cool fully realized quarter of their act. Like it looked really amazing.
Yeah. No, it honestly like looks so cool. Like the way that they have like the character that's front and center. They really nailed like just I think the storytelling of this build.
And I think, in my personal opinion, the best of the 8, it's Lewis and Alex with the high wire act. Like how they had 2 different motors moving a, a long stick, like a long technic piece that had 2 characters like floating on it. It looked so cool. And the background, like the solar system was amazing.
Yeah, I was very much on the same page. I fully expected that they were gonna win this. I just thought it was like I was like, oh, this is the obvious winner. Like they they won another competition here, but yeah, I don't know exactly why they didn't win, but I really
I have
thought
an idea why they didn't win. I will talk about it when we get there because I
okay.
think it's not just what that build was, but I think it was also like the bounce back too.
Got
But
it.
also the build that won, I think, is stunning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally agree. Totally agree. We'll get to it. But yeah,
yeah.
no, but what I fully thought that this was the best one. Same
Like
page here.
I literally saw that forward. I'm like, okay, they won. And
Yeah.
like that was like it was like I can't even express how much shock went through my body in the last 6 minutes of this episode.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
Okay,
not.
well,
Yeah. So
yeah, we'll talk about it for sure.
we get to Team Cirque, and I believe it was Kelly who was doing it. It was Kelly or Emily. Which one was it?
Let's see here. I don't remember
I believe it was
specifically.
Kelly because Kelly's the one that's got like the more energy,
Okay.
and because like it was a big like "haha, we're here" type energy.
Yeah,
Show.
yeah. Definitely,
Um,
definitely.
and there's right from the get go was just so cool. Um, like it didn't have the same. Everything was the same thing. Like the way the first team was, like how it all looked like it was in the same show, but it
Yeah.
all worked together in a really cool way. I thought that Nalita and Paul worked out some really amazing things to make that high wire work look so cool. And like I love how they like the little characters below it. Like
Yeah,
on the yeah.
definitely. I thought that they ended up doing a great job. I was a little nervous with their motor, like we were talking about before, but and I do think when you compare their build to the other one from Lewis and Alex, I do think that theirs was maybe like the worst by comparison, just because Lewis and Alex's was so smart with how they built it with the slight little function
Mhm.
that tipped the wire and made the characters go back and forth really smoothly. So I think that we've been talking about, one of the big themes of this season has been like building similar builds to your competitors, and that's come up almost every single episode here. And I just felt like it did hurt Paul and Lolita by comparison, that Lewis and Alex I thought was just so much better, to be honest.
I think it helps Team Cirque that that was their first act.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. Yeah,
Because I
absolutely.
think that it builds up in a good way. And that I mean that's exactly what I think happened. We get the flying, which looked really cool. Like I like how the character always looked the same to a
Yeah.
certain extent. And this one she had a little bit of like a fin happening towards her feet. And like she was like the mechanism was like a kick type thing all the way up in the air. It looked really cool.
Yeah, no, solid build. I thought this was just a very solid one. Like, no worries that it was the worst one.
Yeah.
Maybe not like obviously the one of the better top 2 potentials, but like definitely was a solid build.
It was one of the good. It was like it was a good storytelling build, which I'd
Yeah.
say what this whole piece was. Then we get to Allison and Melanie with the balancing, and this was like really cool. Also, weirdly, fact, I think this is the first time I didn't see much purple at all in their build. But
Uh,
it was like the girls mostly a mermaid, and there's no mermaid teacher. I'll be a mermaid. It looked really cool.
yeah, I guess they had to conform to the color scheme of
Yeah.
everybody else, and they seemed like they were the best team players of everybody there, as far
Mhm.
as like kind of just willing to like go along, build everything together. They were kind of seemingly a little bit frustrated with some of the tension that was happening. So I think that they probably were just like, okay, we're not going to put our own little spin on it. We just want to do what's best for the team and build something together.
Exactly. And then we get to Aubrey and Ryan with the contortionist, which was like the full blown mermaid. And the design on that character was so beautiful that it was hard to believe I was looking at Brick.
Yeah,
Because, like, again, when you think about Lego, when I think about Lego, at least, I think of like the 2x4 block, basically what we have happening on our background. Like I think of that. I think of like a very straight line, and they were somehow able to make it not look like straight lines were happening.
yeah, and they also they've been really nailing the like set of whatever the story is, like the background and all the details. The fact that they had like I think the most mechanical functions of anybody in the whole competition. They made a point to say that they had like 9 different motors going on or something underneath the surface, and a lot of it had to do I think with like the seaweed was moving up and down.
And then
Like it was
their
kind
fish, yeah,
yeah, so like I'm just saying like there were subtle things that like I get that maybe doesn't stand out super well for us as viewers of like just the intricacies of those things to pick those up without like more time to look at everything. But I was very impressed. This was also I thought like the obvious second top 2 build of the episode. And so I was surprised that they won, but I like it wasn't this isn't a travesty. This isn't some sort of conspiracy
no,
that they won.
it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like Paul. It's not like Nina and Sam winning every time type thing. Like, how does that happen? It's like
Yeah.
it was like a very much. It was really cool seeing them bounce back from last week.
Yeah. No,
And
definitely.
use their natural skills of building beautiful sets, and like making this like there was so much mechanism happening in that build, and
Yeah.
it wasn't distracting.
They just seem like such a wholesome couple too. I'm definitely like I definitely am rooting for them. If they go far, I will not be disappointed. Like they just I don't know. I really like this couple a lot.
I feel like you've turned on that because like you
No,
used
I
to,
do. Yeah.
yeah, like because you're like meh, and I was kind of like I was like always like okay with them, and you've been like, but now you're like yeah, I want them like I like them. They're like enjoyable people, and they seem like they're having a good time.
Yeah, I definitely feel like they've grown on me. And so again, I'm not rooting against anybody. There's no one in the
Oh
season I'm
yeah,
rooting
yeah, yeah.
against, but I am surprised that like how much I am kind of invested now in seeing them do well. So probably helps that they had a hard week last week, so they feel like there's a little bit of an underdog to them now.
Yeah.
So that helps get me in their corner.
So then we get to like the judging, and like it was so fascinating to see this type of thing happen. Where I think personally what happened was well, you see them all like you see everyone looking very anxious and scared, like being like, what's happening? And you keep hearing like basics of like Jamie and Amy deliberating of like technique versus story and like what is happening. Like and it clearly means that in my mind that Jamie was championing Team Soleil and Amy was championing Team Cirque because she's more of a story person, he's more a technical guy, and we get to we have to talk about something serious, like what's happening in commercial break, and you're just like, oh no, who's gonna win? Like what's happening? Like oh my god, and we find out there's a tie. No team is going home. No one's going home. They all win.
Yeah. Which I thought was very fair. Like this just would have felt like a really bad week to send somebody home. It did not feel like there was a dud. Did not feel like there was an obvious even bottom 2 like to pick from. I know we talked about I think like maybe Paul and Nolita's would probably be my least favorite, like I said, but that has a lot to do with by comparison. It was not a bad build by any means, and so I don't fault them for not sending anybody home, but my question mark is like putting on my tinfoil hat. Like they had the banner ready to be dropped from the Cirque du Soleil
I saw,
performer.
yeah.
Do you feel like they had this planned? Were they hoping for a tie, or was it a genuine Jamie Amy stalemate?
Okay. I think they had 3 banners made.
Okay.
Because they do normally have a non-elimination episode or 2.
Yeah, definitely.
And like I don't feel like this was one. That debate seems like it went on for a lot longer than it was shown. Like it looked like it was probably like a 5 to 10 minute long debate.
Yeah.
From like the way the energy was of the contestants of standing there. And I feel like normally it's like, oh, like maybe like 2 to 5 minutes tops.
Yeah.
Or what like a normal amount of time. But this felt like a lot longer. I do feel like that, of course, the banner was made just in case. But I don't think that this was intentionally going to be that episode.
Yeah. I mean, I would think they would have a much tougher time if there was an obvious like build, and they all of a sudden are like, it's a tie when like somebody like didn't complete something, or like they didn't like finish their build. So it felt like a good week to do it, but I just was like, okay, they seemed a little too prepared to have it be a tie.
Because in my mind, I feel like there's always 1 or 2 weeks where no one goes home, right?
Yeah.
It's normally one like earlier in the game and one a little bit later in the game, like 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
And this did not feel. I don't know. It didn't feel like that to me necessarily.
Yeah, no, I mean, it felt fine. It felt fine. I just, when they unfold the banner and they had this whole plan of how they were going to announce the tie, that's where I just felt like, like
I also love.
I don't know.
I think it was like Sam that was like, it was just nice building Lego people. I'm like, yeah, that's like,
yeah. This was a very fun episode in that regard. Just like it was like a whole team bonding experience, where people got to just like collaborate and they produced some really cool designs, some builds together. Yeah. So very fun episode, even, even if it was a little less dramatic at being a non-Olymp.
And also, as we mentioned before, Aubrey and Ryan win. I think that they won because it was an interesting build, and it was, I think, because they grew so much with they took the big Nina and Sam swing, and it paid off.
Yeah, good for them. I hope they enjoy it. Leave the kids at home. Get a babysitter. Okay, I'm with Ryan on this one. Just enjoy themselves. They've earned it.
I also love that when the episode ends, Amy almost starts crying. Will's like, nobody's going home this week. Like,
I love Amy. I know they picked great judges. I love Jamie and Amy. I love how Amy cries every episode. I feel like that's like, she just feels like there's so much tension and emotion, and she's just so invested, and good for her. I want to see her cry even if no one goes home.
I love her accent. I love that she's a giant woman who's just so like ready with her emotions. I'm like, that's me. I love it. She makes me so happy. She's always really sweet whenever I like tweet or DM her or whatever. And like, it's always like, she's good energy, people should be in touch with their emotions.
Absolutely.
Should we talk about what next week's episode is? I'm very excited about this.
Okay, I already forgot, so tell me. Yes, let's do it.
Yeah, so it's Detective Will, I guess.
Oh, yes.
But it's his office, and they're going to ransack his office and replace an item with a Lego version of it, which means they're going hyper realistic. They're going big. They're going bold, but realistic. This could be very amazing. It looked like some teams are going to have some hard times. And I'm excited about this. I think it's gonna be fun. And it looks like a team is doing his desk. I couldn't tell if it was Nina and Sam or Aubrey and Ryan. But because I saw Sam and Ryan moving the desk.
Yeah, that's crazy. The desk, yeah, it's probably like Nina and Sam just biting off more than they could chew, and then using the golden brick or something. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. That it'll be really fun. Have you ever seen Murderville, Mark?
Yes, I have.
Okay, because when I saw this, I was like, "Is this a crossover?" Then I had to remind myself that Murderville's on Netflix, and they don't own the rights to that. But it felt, it felt very much Murderville to me.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's our episode this week. It was a fun one. If you're able to see Cirque du Soleil and you haven't seen it, go see it. Right? I mean that's what it's about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if not, build some Cirque du Soleil at home with your Lego.
Yeah, dude. Get that Technic brick and make the cool sliding stuff that Lewis and Alex did.
Get your brick on.
Hell yeah. Josh, how can people follow you? Do you have anything exciting happening?
Follow me at Josh Kettles. Just really excited to continue podcasting about the season of Survivor at futurepastsurvivor.com. So find me there. Very excited to be going to the Survivor live show here on the West Coast in 2 days to hang out with some Survivor players and fans. And so excited for that, connect with some reality TV and some fellow silent podcasters that will be there. So excited for that. What about you, Mark?
You can follow me at MarkLevy85 on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd. I've been reviewing I've been watching so many horror movies recently. And I'm sad Halloween month is almost over. Seen some really cool ones. I will be doing Exit Press every Thursday morning. There's an eliminated contestant team from Amazing Race. Had a really great one this past week, and really enjoying that. I'm happy to be here every week with you, Josh. And I podcast a good amount of weeks with Sabrina talking Amazing Race. Yeah. And I might be doing some LRG content soon again with Davey. We're trying to figure out schedule stuff. My schedule's a nightmare right now, but excited for this content. It's just good stuff. And excited for Big Brother to be almost over.
Yes, it's already over for me, to be honest. I gave up. So my one and only Big Brother season that I've watched, and I only made it about 75% of the way through. But this is 100 days. This is ridiculous.
It's too long.
I know this is a Lego podcast, but I'm done with Big Brother. Never again. I don't care who they bring back or put on the season. Not happening.
Justice for Suri. Hopefully she stays. All right. Well, we just went off the rails there. Thank you for tuning in to Get Your Brick On, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.